Yeah, hello to everybody. Very happy to be with you. And today I want to speak with you about the Red Cross plant that we call Artemisia annua Anamate. A help for self-help for malaria, AIDS, corona, and cancer. Now you say, how is that possible? Well, that is exactly what we will discuss. And if there are any connections between the efficacy in these diseases. But why do we call it Red Cross plant? I want just to tell you a little bit about my past. For 6 years I worked in the jungle of Congo for the local church as a pharmacist. What impressed me was that in every village there is a so-called Red Cross group. These are young people who carry our patients up to 50 kilometers to the nearest bush clinic. They choose the word Red Cross because they are available quickly and always, day and night. They work on a voluntary basis and have the Good Samaritan in the Bible as their role model. So I had the idea to give this plant the same honorary title, Red Cross plant. It must always be available, day and night, to be used immediately. For example, in case of corona or malaria. Through our association's work, it is now available free of charge in many places in Africa and Asia. Paid for by cooperation, not by money. In fact, Red Cross is nice because the founder was curing wounded soldiers on the field, on the battlefield, and they did not ask, how much money do you have now so that I can heal you? No, he treated everybody. And just as the Samaritan practiced Christian charity, medicinal plants can sometimes lead us closer to God, to the eternal light. This is my wish for you. So in this hour we will speak a little bit about anametopathy, and you will see what it is, and that it is a special philosophy, because we want that rich and poor have the same chance to be healed and have the same right to be healed. And so we will speak what everybody, whatever his position, can do. Now, ANAMED is an abbreviation for action, for natural medicine. Action because we want to do something. Natural because we are close to nature. And medicine because we want to heal and prevent diseases. And therefore we have made a combination of the benefits of modern and traditional medicine. So it is reliable, scientific, and we want a promotion of self-reliance. Now, natural medicine, as we understand it, has a scientific basis, reliable methods of preparation, excellent packaging, a clear written description, exact dosages, and a specific use by date. And now, from the advantages of traditional medicine, it uses locally available resources, is grounded in the local language and culture, is almost always available, even in the most remote regions, even in war. So if you have, for example, this plant here, even in war times, even in remote regions, you can grow it and use it, just as an example, for many, many other plants. Now I want first to introduce A2, that means abbreviation Artemisia annua. Here you see a plantation for the industrial production of artemisinin. This is not our aim. Now I introduced A3 and we have called it Artemisia annua animate. This is our aim. What you see here in Africa, in the same way in Asia or in the same way in Europe. Cultivation in a medicinal garden for making tea. This is our aim on a small level. Artemisia has many qualities. If you go into the internet and you just order qualities, you just order Artemisia, you will find many qualities. So just to give you an idea, on the left, this is our quality, what we understand as A3. And on the right, somebody else also sells Artemisia annua, and even from pharmacies in Germany. But this is never our quality. But both is called Artemisia annua. Now here you see a wonderful example of Red Cross. These people carry now malaria patient to the clinic without money, just because of love to the patient. And now if they grow Artemisia themselves in the village, maybe they do not need to carry these patients anymore to the clinic, or a smaller number of patients. Every day 3,000 people die of malaria. Here the Red Cross boys carry an unconscious malaria patient to our clinic. So why is this plant effective for malaria? Why is even artemisinin now patented for malaria? In the beginning they laughed about us. And now nobody laughs about us anymore if we say, here there is a plant for malaria. How does it work? Firstly, increases the immunity. And secondly, it releases radicals, oxygen radicals, which kill the malaria parasites by itself, by this plant. So, firstly, it increases my immunity, I become stronger. And secondly, there are chemicals inside of this plant who kill the malaria parasites directly. Now, what we have seen, that wherever we have a field, and we have thousands of fields all over the world, wherever we have fields of Artemisia annua animate, sometimes people come and steal the leaves to make tea for themselves. So we said to these people, why do you steal? Why do you take these leaves? This tea is not very sweet. So why do you make tea of these leaves? And they said, we have AIDS. We have a virus that is called HIV. And we feel far better. And sometimes we do not even need, sometimes only, we do not even need chemical ARV. What is ARV? Antiretroviral drug. So we have experienced, and you can see in the internet yourself, that artemisinin in the meantime is patented as an ARV. So you don't need to pay this patent if you grow your own plants. We use it now alone or in combination. But after that, the question was, aha, Artemisia works for malaria. Aha, it works for AIDS. But AIDS is a virus. And in the last years, we had a big viral problem that was called corona. And the question was, has Artemisia any effect in the prevention or therapy of corona? So we know that Artemisia contains antiviral ingredients. We know that it contains immune-boosting ingredients. It increases immunity, for example, of natural killer cells. And it contains essential oils, perfumes, that strengthen and protect the respiratory tract. So slowly we understood why some people used it as prophylaxis. And we got experiences from all over the world, from private people, from NGOs, from industries, that they used Artemisia or ingredients of this plant as a prophylaxis for corona. It was well tolerated by risk groups, for example, people of high age or cancer patients. It was well tolerated if the vaccination was not possible, for example, for pregnant women. It was inexpensive, practically free of charge if you grow your own. And there was no shortage of goods as long as cultivation is done in time. You know, from the vaccination, there was a lot of shortage of very expensive goods, but never with Artemisia. Now we said, aha, if it is effective for prophylaxis, can it also be effective as a therapy? Can we use this plant now as a therapy for corona if somebody is already sick? Now, what we know today from universities and from the feedback of people, there is an immediate action that prevents a virus from spreading to the lungs. I mean, if my collaborator is infecting me with his virus, this is coronavirus, the virus first enters into the nose. Now, if I take immediately action with, for example, Artemisia tea, the virus can no longer spread down to the lungs in many cases. I can increase my immune system. There's an inactivation of the virus, and there is a prevention of the cytokine storm. That means now these cytokines are the body's own signaling substances that get the immune system going. So they are good. But in case of corona, there is a storm of these cytokines, and that makes me sick. It rages through the body and leads to vital organs being damaged by the overexcited immune system. So we ask people, tell us your echo, tell us your experience if this is really effective. And they said, yes, it is effective. We have rarely difficult causes of the disease. I mean, even if the patient went to hospital, it was far less complicated to treat him. It was cheap and affordable. It was easily tolerated. And in comparison of too many mRNA vaccinations, there's a low risk because we have 2,000 years of experience in Asia. So now we come to the last chapter, and we will speak a little bit more widely about that, and that is the question of cancer. You know, in AIDS patients, in very serious cases, there's a terrible tumor, and that is called Kaposi sarcoma. And now, when we treat this person, for example, with Artemisia annua animate, sometimes the sarcoma disappeared. This was achieved by antivirals and immunostimulants that we find in this Artemisia tea. This gave us, as well as universities and researchers around the world, the impetus for cancer research. Now, I want quickly give an explication what in the different words about cancer. You see, there are benign tumor, or another word is the mass. And there is malignant tumor that causes metastasis, then it's called malignant tumor. And that is a tumor that is dangerous. And therefore we call this cancer. So what we speak now is not the benign tumor, but the malignant tumor. So we speak about the cancer who tries to kill me. Now, tumor cells have something in common with malaria parasites. Yeah, you are astonished, but it is like that. They accumulate an excess of iron. Tumor cells have something in common with HIV. They can be fought by a strong immune system. Both artemisinin and A3T destroy cells with a high iron concentration because of their oxygen radicals. Artemisinin and A3T both strengthen the immune system. So please, artemisinin is not a computer that swims now in my blood vessels to fight cancer cells. No. Artemisinin is just swimming in the body to find a cell with a high iron content. And that can be a parasite, malaria parasite, or it can be a tumor cell. And if artemisinin finds now this cell, it gives an explosion, and the artemisinin breaks up and now binds to this parasite or binds to this cancer cell. So what are we waiting for? Let us just see if anybody made any experiences. Now, the first question is, in general, what can Artemisia do nearly always for a cancer patient? Well, 2000 years ago, it was already best known for its effective treatment of stomach problems, fever, and malaria. That is already a big advantage for the patient, that he may feel better. Today we also know that it is strengthening the immune system of AIDS patients. It is treating eye infections. It is treating bronchitis. It is treating hemorrhoids as tea or as ointment. And it, according to the echoes from the people, it is treating cancer. But how is that possible? Well, there was a scientist, Dr. Duke, who gave me a list of those 20 chemicals that are inside of this plant free of charge. So if you are owner of this plant, you are the director of a chemical industry, because you are now producing chemicals fighting cancer. And these 20 chemicals you see here on the list. But now this does not say anything. Maybe all these chemicals are too dangerous and you can never use it for cancer. We will see. Now, what makes Artemisia in my body? It strengthens the natural killer cells. What is a natural killer cell? A natural killer cell is fighting against each enemy, even the enemy it has never seen before in his life. For example, I make a car accident or a bicycle accident, and now many unknown parasites, viruses, microbes enter my body. So I'm not immune against these foreign enemies. But the natural killer cells are so intelligent that they say these cells or these chemicals or these parasites are foreign, they are dangerous, we will kill them. And so this Artemisia annua animate seems to make natural killer cells stronger. Now if you look at this slide, you may say, oh my dear, that is too complicated, but it's not complicated. Or let me otherwise say, our immunity is 1,000 times more complicated than what you find here on this slide. Otherwise, our immunity would never function. Artemisia stimulates the natural killer cells. So you see a normal killer cell. Now, together with Artemisia T, for example, it becomes an activated killer cell. And it releases now perforin and carnosine, and it is now effective to attack an intact tumor cell and to damage the tumor cell. Now, we asked a laboratory in Germany to examine the degree of this activity. And they said, look, number one here, a usual medicine improves this immunity for about 50%. And then there's a reference substance, very toxic reference substance that is never used for people, but you can use it in vitro in the test tube, and it gives about 180%. And then for the surprise of the laboratory, hey, there was A3T now who made it even stronger than the reference substance, who gave an improvement of 250%. So there was a young boy that was called Florian Freyer. After his secondary school, he went to the university now to make small scientific document about direct cell toxicity, about how artemisinin, at least one of these substances, acts for treating cancer. And he found a lot of wonderful results. So here you see the molecule of artemisinin, and you see there is an oxygen bridge, a very oxygen bridge that you may have never seen before. And this oxygen bridge, when it comes together with a cell rich in iron, then it breaks and it forms now two radicals, and these two radicals are now binding to a parasite or to a cancer cell to inactivate the parasite or to inactivate the cancer cell. Now another word, apoptosis. So you say, that looks very complicated. No, it's not complicated. You see here a forest in autumn in Europe. And what does it mean? The trees have said to their leaves, you must die. The winter is coming, we don't need you anymore, so the leaves must die. And this is apoptosis. Or otherwise, if my body says to the cancer cells, you must die, then this is apoptosis. And of course, my body should not tell my good, healthy cells, you should die. No, but should be specific to say, no, only those cancer cells must die, the other cells should not die. What else do we see? You see, if cancer cells are radiated, they are very intelligent. Because after radiation, when they are damaged, their DNA is damaged, now they have a mechanism to repair themselves. And you see here on the left-hand side, after 2 days after radiation, the cancer cells were strong again, and you see it on the white color, they were lively again, they survived the radiation. Now, if you add artemisinin in the middle slide, you see, the cancer cells could not repair themselves so much. And on the right-hand side, even with more artemisinin, you see nearly all cancer cells really died of the radiation. They were not able anymore to repair themselves. And that we call higher radiosensitivity. Another foreign word is angiogenesis. What does angiogenesis mean? When a mother has an embryo, this embryo is not just a mass with the skin or whatever. No, blood vessels must enter the embryo to feed the embryo with sugar and with oxygen and vitamins and everything. And otherwise the embryo would die, of course. And the tumors now by itself tells the person, I'm like an embryo. Please send blood vessels to enter into my cancer so that the cancer can grow and grow and grow. And this is called angiogenesis. It describes the formation of new blood vessels from existing blood vessels, which in this case leads to tumor growth. The formation of new blood vessels is stimulating by growth-promoting substances induced by the tumor itself. Now we need growth-inhibiting substances, for example artemisia, to limit this process so that the tumor will be encapsulated because it cannot grow anymore because there is no blood inside. And that is our aim, to fight the cancer. Now you say, okay, I can use the chemical. I don't need this. I don't need this plant. I don't need this tea. I just go to the doctor to get a chemical. Finished. But are there any advantages? And of course, firstly, artemisinin is selective. It destroys not healthy cells. Secondly, artemisinin is toxic in low concentrations. You can use the same dosage as for malaria, and then you can treat your cancer. Artemisinin can sometimes be combined. It can be taken in addition to chemotherapy. So since our Artemisia tea contains 1% of artemisinin, why do we not use Artemisia tea instead of expensive injections? Now you have seen this plant contains 20 antitumoral substances. And somebody may say, oh, probably only artemisinin is effective, so let us take only tablets or injections of artemisinin. And we say, no, far better you take the whole plant as powder, you eat the powder or you make a tea. And some other scientists have made a lot of publications, and they have proven that at least chrysosphenol D, arteanoin B, casteatin, for example, are substances who, together with artemisinin, can now inhibit the tumor cell proliferation, can inhibit the tumor growth, and can induce the cell death. Now we come to the end, and I want to give 3 times a summary. The first summary, anti-tumor effect of artemisia is possible because, firstly, it has altogether a positive effect for the patient, as it is antiviral, antibacterial, antiphlogistic, detoxifying through increased urination, and detoxifying through stimulating the production of enzymes. You know, the cancer patient has not only cancer, but he has a lot of complaints. Maybe it has an infection. Maybe it has an inflammation. And so at least the environment of the cancer disease can be improved. The second summary, anti-tumor effect of artemisia is possible because it has a direct effect. Firstly, artemisinin radicals destroy the tumor cells. Secondly, angiogenesis is prevented, so the tumors are starved of blood. and of oxygen and of sugar. Thirdly, natural killer cells are stimulated to fight metastasis. Fourthly, it reduces the resistance of the body to chemotherapy. 5. It increases the sensitivity of tumor cells to radiation. And number 6, metastases are less sticky and are therefore more likely to be destroyed before they attach to a new organ. So the metastases are swimming in the blood until a lymphocyte can now attack the metastatic cell. And because they are no longer sticky and to stick somewhere on another organ to make a new cancer. What is the third summary? What we have seen sometimes, please, Artemisia is not the plant for eternal growth, for eternal life. No, but Artemisia can sometimes help. For example, a malignant metastatic tumor called cancer becomes a benign tumor mass. Or nodes, for example, for breast cancer, nodes disappear. Or the tumor markers go down. Or the tumor goes to sleep, encapsulates itself. Or the tumor becomes smaller. Or the metastases disappear. So we need a lot of clinics now who treat cancer patients with Artemisia and other plants. Please, we need many, many clinics all over the world. Now the discussion. Artemisia is a set of 20 keys, each of which more or less fits into the log of every cancer cell. Detailed prediction about whatever cancer, therefore, is impossible. I get a lot of emails where people say, do you think Artemisia may help in my case? I don't know. You must try yourself. In general, 1/3 of the patients refuse it because of the bitter taste. 1/3 of the patients see a certain improvement. And 1/3 of the patients see a big improvement. I mean, they live longer, sometimes weeks or months or years, they can live longer. Please note, very important for me now, this video is for continuing educations for professions in health, One World Partnership, Mission, and so on. Those who do not belong to it and still watch this video, do so at your own risk. All the medicinal plants in the world, if used incorrectly, can also have serious side effects. There is no single plant in the world who has no side effects, please. Trust, therefore, only the advice of your doctor or naturopath, if there is somebody, if you find somebody. For those interested, we have prepared a monograph about this plant, order number 204 at anamed-edition.com, available by mail or there also as a free download in the internet. You can get more information about the plant by googling Artemisia annua anamed. And please, it is forbidden to use this video for the purpose of advertising an industrial product. Anamed says thank you. Thank you to millions of collaborators all over the world. We thank Professor Pamela Weathers, USA, Florian Freyers, doctors and naturopaths all over the world, Nicole Kritzen, Professor Moser, and worldwide collaborators of Anamed International. Thank you very much. All the best, yours, Martin.